Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast.
Good job.
Awesome.
Hey guys, we are here with our friend Sadie.
Hey guys.
So excited that you're here,
Yeah,
eating
thanks
cookies,
for being here. This is
Yes.
awesome.
drinking tea. You've had a full day.
Full day, but a great day, and got some coffee, so
You made
we're
it.
good. We're good.
It's been 2016. It's been 3 years since we've hung out
That's
and
crazy.
actually
True.
caught up for
That's
real.
crazy.
This is just like catch up. This is just like welcome to our catch up tea party, basically.
Yes.
But you've been doing so much, and we love tracking with you.
Thank you.
It's a huge inspiration, actually. And it's pretty fun because when you get on Instagram, sometimes it's not an inspiration,
That's true.
you know?
That's
so
true.
I'm kind of lenient. Like, I leave the phone aside for a good while in the morning, honestly, because it can take me down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Yeah. But when I get to your page, we're always just like, it's really
Aw,
awesome.
Come on, that is
Girl.
like, that's so cool to hear you say. That's my hope for Instagram. I'm always like, I want somebody that's scrolling through that's like, maybe in like the rabbit hole of like
Yeah.
comparison or like being like, oh, they're doing that, they're doing this, to like scroll down to my page and be like, oh man, like God has this for me. It's like a gift. So to hear you say that, that means a lot. That's cool.
I love that. Is that kind of how you look at it? Like, when you're posting, is that sort of the lens you're going through?
Yeah,
Like,
for sure. I mean, I always think about how, the Bible says, like, the tongue has the power of life and death. And I feel like it's the same thing for what you post and what you write and what you put out. And it's like, man, is this... I know I might take it even more seriously than other people, but I do think it's serious because when people get to a picture you post or get to words that you say on a caption, are they getting filled with life, or are you actually taking from their day? And that's a serious thing to think about, because we've all been on the other end of receiving life from Instagram, not really Instagram from people on Instagram, or receiving something that kind of stole from our day.
Yeah.
And so definitely take that super seriously. And so
I love
it's cool to hear
that.
you say.
I love that.
I know that's always been something that has stayed with me since, well, we first met you officially on Winter Jam.
That's
Yes.
right.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
I
And,
forgot about
I
that.
forgot about that
In
too.
the hallway.
That
I
is
think.
so
Well,
random.
we were on the same bus.
Oh,
We
I know.
were.
But our very first encounter, I feel like, was because didn't you also just do one guest appearance before we were on the road together?
Yes.
I think that was our first time meeting.
Randomness. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Somebody just
Right, yeah.
asked me about that Winter Jam, and I was like, it feels like such a fog because I didn't know anybody, but I'm realizing now everybody I know was there. Like,
Isn't
it's
that
so
funny?
Weird. Yes.
Winter Jam can so be like that.
Yes.
Well, and we didn't really
man.
know each other then.
Yeah.
But it just struck me how confident you were when you went up on stage.
Oh
'cause
my
Yeah,
gosh,
totally.
we did
that
our
is
set,
so
and then
funny.
you were on a little bit later in the night.
Yeah,
And
you
Yes,
the
did,
first time
I
I was
was.
wow, I get it.
Well, because we
Wow,
ran
that's
out
so
there because we
cool.
met you in the hall.
Yes.
And I think I don't know if we prayed together, but we were like, "Hey,
Yes, I
nice
remember
to
I
meet
thought y'all were
you."
so cool because y'all are from Canada.
You know,
I was like, that's so cool. Yeah.
we're probably just trying to fake it till we make it. But you know, because that was actually our first tour in America.
Yes,
like,
I remember us talking about that.
oh, we were just like, nah, what are we doing? We would like run out there and try and be bold and like confident in the Lord for sure, but
Yeah.
really learning on our feet.
Oh, I felt the same way.
Did you?
Oh my gosh, I was terrified because that was before I was like speaking or anything. I didn't even know that I wanted to do this.
Really?
I didn't know anything about the Christian industry.
Girl,
at
we
all.
got the inside
Yes,
look.
or like
Yeah.
people. I didn't know anybody there, and my mom basically like sent me on it because she.
That's right.
I got asked to do like a Q&A about Duck Dynasty because that was in the height of the Duck Dynasty, and I was
right.
like just kind of thinking like represent the fam, you know. But I go out there and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know anybody. I really don't know what I'm doing. Why did I don't even think I can speak in front of this many people because I don't even like to like read something in class, and I was a junior in high school. Like, how am I supposed to like read or talk in front of this many people? I was terrified. But actually cool story is right before me every night they sang there's power in the name of Jesus. And
That's right.
yeah,
Lincoln was on, right?
it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And every
Oh, man.
night I heard that. And I remember actually being so convicted because I was singing it one night and I was like, I'm like declaring this with everything in me, like there is power in the name of Jesus. And then I'm like, I'm so scared. I'm walking up on stage and I'm shaking and I'm like, wait, that doesn't actually go hand in hand. Like, I'm like 1 second worshiping that there's power in the name of Jesus, and then I'm shaky voice saying the name of Jesus. I was like, this is not okay. And so that was a huge breakthrough for me. I think it was about night 7 or so, and I went up out of 10 cities, and I went up to Eddie Carswell, and I was like, hey, Eddie, I was like, I know I've not proven myself at all worthy to do this or capable of doing this, but instead of doing a Q&A tonight, can I go speak? And
you did that, girl. That is awesome.
Like bless him. We still talk about that. He was like, I did not know what you were doing. I was like, I didn't either. So
I think that's the night I went outside stage.
Yeah, because everybody happened to be there. Yeah, like
you did a whole thing.
Yes, and I was not planning that, and it was all based out of a conversation I had with my Uber driver that day, and so that was like my first experience speaking. Was there, and that's whenever I kind of was like, if I'm claiming there's power in the name of Jesus, then I better be acting and talking and walking and believing like there is. And so that was a really pivotal moment for me in my life at Winter
God
Jam.
bless Uber.
Yeah, God bless Uber. If he can speak through an Uber,
yes,
keep your eyes, your ears open, people.
That's so good.
That's so funny. I remember being in an Uber in the middle of Canada, and it was a guy that definitely was not a church-going friend. But I told him what, we started talking. I told him what we did. We were there to play a show. It's like, oh, what band are you in? And not 2 minutes later, he pulled me up on his phone, started playing through Spotify. And I'm like, oh, this is good. I'm going to check it out. Where are you guys playing tonight? Oh, maybe I'll come.
Did he come?
I don't know, because by the time the show was going, it was like,
that's amazing.
No, I'm telling you, Uber's
so
where
funny.
it's at. And I remember now I remember this. In my journal, right before I had met y'all, right before Winter Jam, I don't know if you remember me telling you this, but I wrote in big, huge letters, loving the outcome. And
you showed me
and
that.
I was like, weird, because at the time I didn't even know why I wrote that, or I guess I'd heard one of y'all's songs and just it was just in my mind. And met y'all, I was like, weird, and then that's why I asked y'all on the tour the next year.
Man,
so crazy. It's funny,
that's
time
crazy.
just flies. You start running and you sit down for a minute and you're like, look what the Lord did. That's cool.
So cool.
That's so good. Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Whoa, that's good.
Whoa, that's good. I like that.
I mean, I've been listening to the podcast. Do you call your mom at the end of every episode?
Yeah.
I love that part.
Yes,
I didn't know it was coming the first time I listened, and I was like, I call my mom every day. This
I
just
know,
feels
right?
so normal.
Felt right.
And having seen you and your family's dynamic on the road feels so right.
Yeah.
You and your mom are tight.
Super tight.
And you and your
Super
dad.
tight.
You and your family.
Yeah. We're a very close family. I mean, we were already close before the show, but then going through that together, and we all worked together in a sense, but it didn't feel like work. It felt like fun. But yeah, we got really, really close, and then doing the tour together, and now podcast, you're like, well, if my family's not in it, then what am I doing? I need to call mom. Yeah.
Well, and you're living in Nashville,
Yes.
separate, and your family's in Louisiana still.
Yeah.
How's that?
It's definitely different, but the cool thing is, I mean, God is so kind and telling you, my gosh, and I know that different people are going through different things that might not feel like he's kind, but he's always kind and he's always good. And for me, I was so nervous because, missing my family. I was like, I'm going to go up here. I have a community here. I have my family. I mean, I know y'all know that feeling, and you're totally walking into something that's unknown.
Yeah.
And no promises. Promises here, but promises in the Lord. So you're like, okay.
I really have to depend on you.
Yeah, I really have to. And I felt like God was like, you need to get rid of all your safety nets, and you just need to fall, and you need to just trust that I'm going to catch you. So I was like, okay. So I came here, and right off the bat, I met Lainey, who's now my best friend, my roommate. And then, of course, had the girls from Winter Jam that I had met. And so community formed, found a church to get plugged in. I found a place to live, and it was just all God, provision. And I love that because I was so nervous. And truthfully, when I moved here, I was living with my parents' friends. I didn't have anything here, nothing. I didn't even have any real hope for a job potential at the time. I was just moving with full trust. And when I got here, the first month, nothing happened. And I was like, God, should I do I go back? I'm so confused.
What was the original inspiration to move to Nashville?
Winter Jam. So I moved because Winter Jam, but I knew when I was coming for Winter Jam I was gonna stay. I just knew that was gonna get me started, and so that was, I guess, the job at the time.
Right.
But after that, I was like, I have a 3-month period. What am I going to do after? So the first month, I was like, I don't really know, like, what's going on, God. I don't really know, like, are you, like, did you really say that? Did I miss it?
Yeah.
You know? But
been there.
There's still, like, some peace inside of you. And then as I just waited it out, you know, like I said, Lainey was, like, there the whole time. And then the friends came. I found my church. I found my people. And it started to feel like home. And not in a sense that home is still not home, because it is, and it'll always be, because my family's there and the people and the memories. But it felt like the peace of home, of feeling like I have people, I have community, I have a support, and man, God's presence is here. And if that is like, that's there, then you have it, you know, then you're in a good place. And so
I think that's really good. I think sometimes when we're in the middle of what God's doing, it's not where you started, where it was comfy, but it's not where you don't see the whole thing yet. Exactly. You're just in the middle of the miracle, and you're just like, okay, I'm trusting. But it's like when the promise goes from being a promise you've read to a promise you walk. And you're just like, okay.
So true. And I think that's the thing, is like, you know, I feel like people in that initial state, that first month for me, or like before the promise is like actually like you get to claim it. I think that's when people are so quick to say like, God, why'd you do this? That's when you don't think he's kind, you don't think he's good. But whenever the provision comes, like, it's so crazy, because you look back, you're like, man, like, God, you're actually so good, and you're actually so kind. And I don't want to, now that I look back and see that as I go on, I'm like, I don't want to miss the waiting. Like, time, I don't want to waste the waiting. I don't want to be like disappointed in the waiting, that like, God, are you going to do this, or anxious or antsy, that I like miss the beauty in the relationship that God's walking with. Because I'm like, man, what sweetness that like it was just me and God at first. Like, now I look back and I'm like, I wish I would have recognized that more. So now like I think I'm more quick to, as I'm waiting for something, or as I'm, you know, walking into something, saying like, God, right here, right now, you're good. Right here, right now, I have enough. Right here, right now, I'm going to celebrate in what you're doing. And I think it just makes every season of life a lot more enjoyable when you're like that. And I think I kind of missed that when I moved here, but I think God's teaching me a lot.
You're not alone. It's hard to not waste the waiting. I feel like you just named the episode, because I feel like it's hard. It's just hard to be in wait and in want of that dream. Yeah. Because it's in the waiting where you're like, okay, God, this dream you put in my heart, I want to take the steps with you, like in step with you, to turn it into like a realized dream, like into a goal. And that's like, dreams are kind of safe. Isn't that sort of funny?
That's so true.
I never realized that till we came here and left everything too. So true. I was like, wow, I was kind of like flirting with my dream.
Yeah,
like,
it's so
cool, you know, like that'd be so fun, and like let's travel around, and then you get the visa, and then we're like, okay, I guess we don't have money. Okay, I guess we'll sell stuff. Okay,
and then you're like, it's not cute anymore.
It's not cute. This just got messy and real, and like I'm yelling at God, I'm crying, I'm celebrating, I'm like all over the shop, you know? But it's like the depth of relationship and like the foundation for the setup. Because the thing is, like, sitting on that dream and like it actually happening is the combo of you and God doing your thing.
So true.
And I just hope that encourages everybody, because I'm sure you get asked a ton, like, how do I do what you do? Like, I want to be doing what you're doing. Like, how do I start? But I feel like you just answered that in an unconventional way. Yeah. Like,
that's awesome.
Don't waste the waiting.
Don't waste the waiting. And I think people do ask that a lot. They're like, I want to do exactly what you do or whatever. Yeah. And for me, I'm like, man, there's something so original in you. And that's like where that live original, like, that's what I'm like.
That's awesome.
No, like, I don't want you to do what I'm doing. I want you to do what God put in you to do, because if you do what I'm doing, or if I do what you're supposed to do, then we're not moving forward as a generation that we need to move in. And I'm like,
so good.
Like, so let's stop and let's see, like, what's unique to you. What are you passionate about? What do you like to do? All right, now let's look at that and let's say, God, what purpose are you bringing to that? I love when people ask that question, because I'm like, man, if you do the things that God's put in my heart to do, then we are limiting ourselves as a generation to do the maximum amount of what God can do, you know?
So true.
Right. And it's going to be so hard for that person, because it's not, it won't feel natural.
Yeah.
Like,
totally.
Even if they can, like, for example, even if they can play guitar, or they can get up on stage and talking to a microphone, it's like, that's not...
What's the purpose?
It's still different. Exactly. It's the why behind it. It's how you got there. It's what God did in your life. I'm like, well, let's fast forward all the way back to birth. I'm like, we have different stories. We can't do the same.
You're stewarding a different story.
That's so good. And actually, Lainey and I talk about that a lot because we're so close and we're doing a lot of the same things, but the beauty of it is like that it's a different word and it's a different sound. Because we always say like, man, somebody's got to hear something, even the way that you say it, that's going to reach them in a way I couldn't. Somebody's going to hear something in Lainey's story that it like is exactly what they're going through, and it's going to be so timely. And so to champion that in her and celebrate that and bring that out and let that be heard. I mean, I think that is like, I think that's what we should all do, you know?
And that's why there's no competition.
Yeah, there's none.
Like, you just diffused competition. Yeah. Did you guys get it? Like,
did
I get it? Like, you know, it's just so easy, but I love watching you and Lainey do that because you're so right. You're both walking out your calling and then it's confidence. Yeah. Because you're like, our calling is different,
so true,
you know, and you can do it hand in hand and celebrate each other. Yeah. And it looks different.
All of our callings are different, and everybody has a calling. Yeah. I think some people are like, oh, just the people that are on stage have a calling. No, everybody has a calling, and it's going to be different. Be confident right where you're at with your calling. I actually had coffee with a girl yesterday. She's about to move to Nashville, and I just said, I hope you know when you get here. I was like, I hope you know that from this friend group. And I said we, but I was the only one sitting there. And it was funny. I was like, that probably sounded weird that I said we, but it's just me. But what I was saying was, all my friends, because I know they'd say the same thing, they'd echo me in saying this to her. You will not be met with competition. You will not be met with the feeling that you can't tell us everything God's doing in your life and that we're going to feel less than, or that we're going to get jealous. Or I was like, no, this is like a sisterhood where we cannot wait to know what God's doing in your life. And then we're going to like get every microphone we have and like put it to your voice and say like, speak it, get it out, because you're going to have something we don't have. And I just thought about that, like, you know, we always say, oh, culture is so competitive. We're talking Instagram, and I'm like, if you want to change it, you got to speak words to change it. You got to take action to change it. And me and Lainey are really passionate about that. We're like,
I can
stop it and change it, you know?
Especially as women. Yeah. It's important. Yeah. Like, I think we can be bad at that. Yeah. I'm not happy to say that, but it's easy to go down that road. Yeah. But I think people like you are like really being intentional about changing it. Yeah. I think that's the other thing too. It's like great to know the Lord, but again, getting back to the walking it out, like he can't walk for you. Yeah. You know, he's walking with you. He's not walking for you. Natalie Grant told me that once, and I was like, oh, dang, I'm going to remember that. Like, that's so good. And watching you guys walk out life together and champion each other is, I think, now it's pockets of people trying to do that same thing. You know, it's inspiring. Is that, I mean, okay. So you were on a... You
about to get real.
Well, I'm just like...
Real. Let's go.
I was like talking to the Lord about this conversation, and I was just like, man, you grew up in public. Yeah. And then, like, you were on Dancing with the Stars. You were an author way earlier than I realized you were. Just so many things, and now a brand. Like, Live Original really is, like, it's a full-on really brand. Yeah. And it was a book and a first tour, like, when I last met you. Did you plan for that to happen?
No way. No way. No, okay. I mean, I could never have planned that. Like, never have planned that. I always say, like, people say, like, what do you think you'll do in the next 5 years? I'm like, I won't say anything. Because I'm like, if I would have said what I thought I would have done in the next 5 years, I would have sold myself so short. Like, not even like short, like different. And like, I mean, seriously, if you would have asked me my sophomore year of high school, which was before everything changed, you know, what are you going to do? I would say, man, I'm probably going to go to Harding, which is a college in small town in Arkansas, and I'm hoping to play basketball. That's what I would have told you. Like,
that's what I wanted to play basketball.
Oh, really?
That was my dad was my coach. We got it. Do you play?
Yes,
you do.
Yes, we play all the time at the gym.
Okay, you gotta tell. Yeah, okay.
I'm texting you. Yeah, that's so funny.
No, yeah, that looks like, a little different.
That's really what I would have said. That was like planned. And so like, no, I could not have planned this. It's so God, but you're so right. When you're walking with him, I mean, it is a step at a time. And you know, it was funny because somebody told me, they're like, follow peace, and I was like, a long time ago, like when I was like, what does that mean? What is peace?
And like sometimes it's hard, but it doesn't mean it's not right.
Yes, I was like, I don't.
There you go.
Hey,
that's good. It's not always very peaceful.
That is good. That's true.
He is peace. Ooh,
that's true.
Man. Okay.
That's a word. And so I was like, what does that mean? And then at the time, I remember reading Ephesians 4, and it talks about make every effort to keep peace with the unity of the Spirit, and the bond of peace with the unity of the Spirit. So I was like, okay, so you can only follow peace through being with the Spirit and being united with the Spirit. And I just remember, you get those little drops in your heart, you get those little things, and you just follow it. And it's one step at a time. And to be honest, the first step to live original was I didn't even mean to walk into it. I just walked into it. I walked into a camp, and I actually had grown up with a totally different background of church, and so I had never seen a woman speak in church before. And so I was at this camp, and Alex Seeley, none other than
no way,
yes, it was her first event to preach at from Australia when she moved here.
Crazy.
I happened to go there, and I'm there, and she starts preaching, and it was like all this. I'm watching her, and I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like the way she's communicating and like what she's doing, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just love it. And like I literally remember everything she said, and that was like 4 years ago, and I remember how she said it. I mean, I could like imitate what she did because it just something in me just came alive. Yeah, and it was the first altar call I responded to. And after that, I started writing in my journal original events, and I was like dreaming about it, and I remember thinking about it all the time and telling Mom, I think I want to just try it. And this was after the book, and so yeah, it's crazy. I would have never ever planned that. Never.
Wow, but even the fact that you like wrote it down, it was in your heart. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. And it's like you wrote it down and you're kind of, and I mean, I think that's prayer.
Oh, it's so true.
You know?
It's so true. I mean, even to think about the name Live Original, like the reason I even wrote the book that is because, like I said before, even when I wanted to play basketball, this was sophomore year, Duck Dynasty had started, and they wanted us to write books, because reality TV, a lot of times like books come out of it, and so they said they want you to write a book. I said, well, I can't even hardly read a book. I'm not like, I don't read very much. I'm not like the writer. I was like shocking. And like, that's like true, okay? This will tell you that the Lord is good. And I write a book. And really so they said, what do you want to title it? I said, well, and I was actually thinking the book was my safety net because I thought if I write a book, I don't have to speak because they were also asking me to speak. I was like, I'll just get it all down on paper, which is totally opposite of what happened because the book became the tour. But
crazy.
I said, Mom was like, well, what's a common theme of your life? And when I was 5 years old, I remember I would preach on my table all the time. Like I would like talk to my parents. I'd be like, and God is so good. And we had like all these videos of it. And then I remember at that time I was kind of sassy, and my dad had given like all of my friends a nickname, but he never gave me a nickname. And I was like, Dad, I want a nickname. Like I want to be cool. I want a nickname. And my dad was like, Sadie, you're just the original. Like, I don't know a nickname. He's like, you're just you. You're the original. And so growing up, my dad would always say the original. So when it got time to write the book, it was Live Original based off of like just being content with who you are.
That's
great. And so which is where everything else came from. And you're totally right about prayer. I mean, those are the things that are in you from the time you're a little girl. And it's not even prayers that I prayed. It's prayers my parents that prayed, and prayers that my grandparents prayed, and people that I probably never even met at my church prayed, So even if you feel like, man, I missed my whole life of praying, you probably don't even know how many people prayed for you. And God hears it. And I just even think about that time with Alex. I've now gotten to have lunch with Alex since the preaching thing. And I told her, I was like, I know people say, like, for the one, like, do it for the one. I was like, I was the one. Like, whenever I came into that church, like, you spoke to me. And because of you preaching to one, I've been able to go and preach to a lot of people. Wow. And it would have never happened if your obedience had come from Australia here. And I always think about that from Alex's point of view and just her preaching one. So when I go preach, I'm like, man, if it is for one, and I believe that because I'm like, that happened to me, and now all these other people, because that happened to me from her. So it's really cool.
Just the like the seeds we plant, right?
You never know.
You just don't ever know. And sometimes there's seeds of like tears if it's a hard year, but even that, I feel like that's an offering.
Yeah, it's so true.
Because I don't know why I'm going here, but it just came to my mind. But just like in church, I remember growing up and almost being positive to a fault. Like I didn't even know how to journal to the Lord in honesty. Yeah. It was just, and it's great to say like, thank you, God, and like, I praise you, Lord. Of course. And like, absolutely, that helps me get through my worry and my fear. But there's also times of just like, this is really hard. Yeah. I don't know what to do. And I didn't know how to do that with the Lord. And I remember I was crying and the Lord was like, well, that's an offering. Those are tears in the ground. Like that'll turn into joy one day. And I'm going to use that honest offering. And I remember feeling like no shame. I was shaming myself really when I look back on not having it all together because I like to try. And I was just like, okay. Like relatable. That's not the Lord, right?
I remember that breaking for me and that realness with the Lord was actually right before that service that I went to, and I remember crying because it was after like Dance with the Stars and Duck Dynasty, and you would think that would be like woohoo, like this is awesome. No, that was like rock bottom in my heart because, and you hear people say it because it's weird. It was like as the following kept going up, I felt like I was getting more isolated because I felt like I didn't know, like I just didn't know. I didn't know what to do with that. I didn't know what to do with people looking at me. I didn't know what to do with people knowing an image of me, but not actually knowing me. And I felt like very like suffocated in that, in a sense. And so I remember crying and saying like, God, and like my plans are ruined. I was like, I can't go to school, and I don't know what to do, and not playing basketball. And I remember just crying, and I remember saying like, am I supposed to go to LA? Am I supposed to do this? Am I supposed to? And I was trying to like figure it out. Yeah. And God was like, you're not gonna have to like pick or choose anything. You just need to like be still. And I remember him saying, because I remember crying about being like this famous thing, because I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that title. I don't like to be like reality star, like known as this like famous person that can just do whatever. Like I didn't want any of that. And I remember just falling on my face and these tears coming. And I remember God saying, I'm not calling you to be famous. I'm calling you to be a sister and a friend to those who don't have a sister and a friend. And I wrote that down that day, and it stuck with me ever since. And that goes back to the Instagram thing. If I'm posting something that makes me look famous and not like a sister and a friend, I'm missing it. You know, if I'm doing something or speaking something that makes me look known and famous or seen and not known, I'm missing. I'm not being a sister and a friend, because a sister and a friend is the most real relationship you can have with someone. Yeah. And to sow in the seed, in Ecclesiastes 11, one of my favorite verses, 11:6, it says, sow your seed in the morning and don't be idle with your hands in the evening. And I hold that because I'm like, I'm going to keep sowing seed. I'm not going to be idle with what's going to happen with it. Yeah. So you never know. Right.
Girl.
We're talking a million miles an hour.
No, it's so...
Oh, I love it.
I feel like you just actually brought a lot of clarity to a few things in my heart. I love everything you're saying, because I think something that Alex, she might have said it once upon a time, but I heard it somewhere, it stuck with me. Just that someone else having a word for you is not the same as God having a word for you directly. Yeah. But to actually have a word from the Lord for you, which sounds, okay, wait. That sounds really like, because if you don't go to church, you never heard someone say that before. It's like, what does that even mean? I'm asking myself that. It's like just when God whispers to you, or when like you get those like goosebumps on your arm, just you have that moment in that encounter.
And people will say like, did you audibly hear the voice of God? No, I don't want anybody to think that I'm just this magical person audibly hearing the voice of God. But he speaks to your heart. Like, it's the things that, like, you know that you need to say to yourself that you can't say to yourself, that he speaks over you. And if it doesn't align with his word, then it's not him. It's not his word. Because his word is always going to be his word.
That's how you know you can trust it.
And that's how you know you can trust it. I'm glad you brought that up. Because I'm sure a lot of people... I mean, I was like that, like, before I got used to that. I'm like, what is everybody saying? A word? Are they hearing God?
Me too. I'm like, I want that. But you're right. And the more that you...
Pause. Did you hear that?
That was my foot. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that was your foot.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
I was like, sorry.
Like, the camera.
I told you I started talking. I get so distracted.
Oh, I love it. We're
leaving that.
Please leave that. That's really true to me.
God is speaking through noises in our house. Not that he can't. I mean, not that he can't.
That's
but
so funny.
I think too, like, you can develop that. I think sometimes I thought spiritual things, the spiritual lingo I'd heard in church, I really had to stop and go, okay, I love the mystery of God, but there's actually some real tangible ways to really approach this, you know? And I want to make sure we talk about that, because
that's great.
The last thing I want is people to be like, oh, like Chris and Jody and Sadie like have this thing, and they never went into like what that means.
That's great. I'm glad you said that. Actually, I don't know if y'all know Chris McClarney, he's awesome, but this morning Chris was talking to us about, we were talking about worship and writing, and he was talking about why we write worship music. And he was saying that originally when he started writing, he thought it was this like mystical thing. He was like, I gotta like figure it out. Like, I gotta, like, find the sound of heaven and, like, put it out and, like, where is it? And find this melody and the atmosphere. And he was like, and then God said, Chris, it's in you. And he was like, oh, it's... Okay, wow.
Okay, wait a second.
Yeah, and I think that that's true for the word too. I think that we sometimes we're like, do we hear, like, whatever, and it's like, it's actually in you, and it's written for you, and it'll be sung over you in different ways, and spoken to your heart in different ways, but it's there. It's not something you have to strive for, or reach for, or listen super hard all the time. It's just there.
And it's cultivated. Yeah. Like, I feel like God speaks to us how we talk.
It's so true.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I bet you and the Lord, and you and the Lord, and me and the Lord, like, it's different. Yeah. Because it's so personal, and it's alive and active. So whether I'm reading it and something jumps out personally to me, that's the Lord. Like, that's the Lord speaking.
And sometimes I feel guilty about that, because it'll happen, you know, at church while during worship, or while Alex is speaking, I'll get this idea. It's like, I'm not focusing. It's like, but that's a really good idea. Like,
but that's okay.
You know, sometimes that's worship. How he speaks to me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
But cultivating it, and just how I love the tension of how the Lord is both mystery and also just practicality together.
That's so true.
You know, and the more we walk it out, and the more we talk it out with him, the more his voice becomes clear and definable to us. So true. And so, and that's why you gotta work out your salvation for yourself.
Yep.
Like, someone else's prescription, it's just not gonna work.
No,
it's not gonna work.
It's
just not. It's not gonna work.
So true.
But were you nervous when you were on Dancing with the Stars?
Oh yes.
When you brought it up, I was like, ding ding. I wanted to ask you about that.
Oh my goodness, yes. I was so scared. I mean, this kind of is a theme throughout the years that I was like so scared. I was so scared. That's why I have a book, Live Fearless. So if you're wondering how I got fully over that, read the book, because there's no way I could tell the whole story. But yeah, I was really nervous. Because, like I said, I was a junior in high school, and I was going into my junior year, and I was gonna play basketball. I know it sounds so funny, because you're like, just starts basketball, but that was a real thought. I really was like, I don't want to miss basketball, because like I was like, I wanted to play in college, so I was like focused.
Girl, and
then I get asked to be on Dance with the Stars, and I'm like excited, but I'm terrified. And once again, I actually said no at first, and it's funny because Mom comes to the rescue, and actually it was more my little sister. My mom tried to come to the rescue, but I was not hearing her. She was like, you have to do this. This is a once in a lifetime. Are you crazy? You're going to Dance with the Stars because basketball. And I'm like, are you crazy? Would you be on Dance with the Stars? Like, we're dancing in front of 20 million people. Not to mention, I've never danced before in my life. So
you hadn't?
No.
You would, I mean,
no.
Girl,
oh,
you
gosh,
owned it.
I was so nervous.
What was the preparation like?
It's crazy. So I was also the last person they called for this season. I actually, to the point that I had seen them announce it already, and didn't think I was going to be on it at all. Wow. And then they called and were like, the show starts in 2 weeks. Everybody else is here practicing already, but we want you to be on it. We decided to add one more person, and I was like, oh my gosh. So they were like, you have to fly to LA tomorrow. We're going to shoot the commercial. Then we're going to fly to New York. And you're going to be on Good Morning America to announce. And then you're going to go back to LA. And you're going to go ahead and meet your partner, design your costume, make up the dance, and the live show's the next week. And I was like,
wow.
No. That's
I just want to play basketball.
And then, and then the preparation from that point on, after like 2 weeks of just pure crazy, I wouldn't even, it doesn't get less crazy, it actually keeps on crazy. And so my journey, because I made it to the end, which is awesome for people who voted, but it was 11 weeks long, so I was there from the end of August till right before Thanksgiving. And basically every Monday is a live show. Then every Tuesday you start, if you make it, you start designing your costume and your stage.
So you're in on that.
Yes, you do it all. And that's why it was funny, because people are like, oh, you don't need to be on it because like the costumes are risky, but you actually design your own costume. So whatever you wear, you design. But
that's really cool.
So like you do get to decide.
Wow.
But Tuesdays you do all of that, and then they give you a song, they give you a type of dance. So each week you're learning a completely new genre. So even if you think you made it, you're like, I learned how. Nope. Next week's totally different. And then you learn it with your partner, and then you perform it live on Monday. It's crazy because not only is there like 20 million people that watch Dance with the Stars each week, but I think the like the scariest part to me was there's 3,000 people there in the audience, and then the 4 judges who judge you in front of everybody right
the 20
after.
million people. It's
you're like abstract. You're not even thinking about them because you can't see them.
Oh yeah.
But all these people, you're like, you're all right here.
It's a real performance,
and I'm about to get judged after.
Yeah, and then they're gonna be like, here's what we think of you.
Yeah.
I'm getting a picture of why you were so chill on the tour.
Yeah, you're like, it's like, okay, I've been through a few things.
This is a pretty serious tour. There's a lot of different moving parts.
Yeah.
And so he's just like,
I'm good.
I know I don't like when people like compare it to like they're like, oh, you're so natural on stage, and I want to be like that. I'm like, I had a lot of practice. Like that whole experience is crazy.
Like God will use all the things.
He'll use all the things. The verse I clung to. I'm talking like. I probably quoted this like all day, every day during that season of my life was Hebrews 10:35, and it says, "So then do not forget the confident trust that you have in the Lord, for that will be richly rewarded. Patient endurance is what you need now, so that you will be able to test and approve the will of God." And I remember I would just say over and over and over again, because when you feel so outside of your plan, but you're in God's will, you have to say, God, I'm actually choosing to be confident in you and nothing that I'm actually capable of doing. Because I'm like, God, I don't know how to dance, but I'm confident that you brought me here. I don't know what I'm doing, or if I'm about to get like totally judged by not only these 4 judges but all of America, but I'm confident that you have me here. And just quoting that, it's like, okay, I'm good, I can do this. I
actually wanted to ask you that. Where does your confidence come from? And you just nailed it. Because I think that's something, to choose confidence, it's a choice, and God's given us the tool to access it. But I don't think that's how we often think about it. But then we're not actually choosing the right kind of confidence.
That's so true.
We're just in ego.
I think that, like, for me, what I realized on Dancing with the Stars is, like, and I wrote about this in the book. I wrote, like, the whole last chapter is about, like, who's leading your life, like, whose voice is the strongest in your life, what's your idea of winning. And that was kind of what I learned during Dancing with the Stars, and really what confidence is. And I realized, like, this sounds bad, but, like, people are just fickle. They just are. And during Dance with the Stars, I would realize, like, the first week, it was, like, all of America, like, was, like, loving me. They were, like, all, like, I was everywhere. It was, like, so crazy. I, like, gained all these followers. It was crazy. The next week, I was getting bashed by the church for dancing, and then bashed by the secular world for being a Christian.
I didn't even think about that.
So now both sides of the picture I'm getting hate from, because it's like, oh, you're Christian, you're weird, and then you're Christian and you're dancing, and it was just like boom, 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 boom. And then next week I do another dance, and oh, she's so cute. And the next week it would be like, you got like, I forgot the dance one week, and I just totally failed. And it was like, man, God, if I am like basing my confidence on the world, I'm gonna be like this, like, and I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to do this, because this was really hard. Like, I don't even know if I'm gonna get back up. And like, I was like, I can't choose that. Like, I have to choose my confidence in you, because it's the only thing sustainable. Like, it really is. And then you realize when you do forget the dance, when you do fail, when you do lose, when you do all these things, come in second, come up short, you get the hate, you hear the comments, and you're all of a sudden still filled with joy, and you can still have a confidence. You're like, okay, God, like, we actually know each other. Like, I get you.
That's so good.
It was crazy.
Wow. Yeah, if you're living for the applause of man, which, I mean, it's just natural. It feels great to have somebody be like, you're awesome, you did great. And, like, encouraging each other is incredible. But you're right. If that's your base.
That's your base. It's a shaky base.
That's not going to last.
And, I mean, even now, to the point, you know, on Instagram, it's like, there's like maybe 100 people that said the nicest encouraging thing.
Sure.
And then there's like the 5 people that like totally ripped you apart, and like,
and those
you're
are the ones
only thinking about the 5 people.
100%.
And then you're like, oh, but that was nice. I mean, you cannot like let that be your foundation. It just is not. It's not.
And when you focus on pleasing everyone, you're so not yourself.
It's so
you're like serving them. It's like, wait, I'm supposed to be serving the Lord and what He's asking me to do. But when you don't get immediate affirmation on what you're trying to serve Him with. That can be tricky.
So true.
But that happens. Because when you're working it out, people only affirm what they see.
That's so true.
You know what I mean? But it's what we can't see that the Lord's often.
That's so true.
Especially when you're trying to do something that historically has not been very approved by the church and especially by males in the church. Because it's like, well, it says here that you're not supposed to do that. It's like, I don't know if you're really reading that right.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of discussion. I think what it pushed me to do is like, you know, you can do this for a certain amount of time, but you can't do it forever. It depends on other people's faith and what other people have said. Even your pastor's faith, your parents' faith, what your family has believed. And what that pushed me to do is, like, what do I believe? Like, God, like, I need to just know, one, from, like, my peace and the prayer, but even not beyond that, equal to that, the word. Like, what do I believe? Like, it pushed me to read and to learn and to know. And then I think when you know truth, when you know the word, when you know what he says, it really essentially doesn't matter what anybody says. And it hurts sometimes and it's encouraging sometimes, but it doesn't change who you are at the end of the day. And I think that's the most important thing that you hold on to. And for me, you talked about just knowing who you are and stuff. And, like, for me, I was thinking about this, like, or being confident and stuff. It was like I started being super vulnerable in Dance with the Stars. When they asked me a question on interviews, I would just answer honestly. And people were like, "You're so honest. Like, you share so much. Like, you talk about, like, the hard stuff in your family." And I realized that, like, you're not yourself when you feel like you're hiding something, and you're always scared they're gonna catch you in something. And, like, I was like, if I just say it, then they're gonna hear it from me. They're not going to hear it from a headline that's false. They're not going to hear it from, like, other people who assume. They're going to hear it for what it actually is and from who it's actually from. And when I started being real with that led into the past 4 years with Live Original, with writing, with all these things. I just want to be so real and transparent that people, like, they can try to get me, they can try to trick me, but there's nothing you're going to find that I haven't already told you. Yeah, you know? And I think that there's such a confidence that comes with that you know, like, no, I'm actually painfully fully known. And, like, you know it from me first. And God knew it, and so y'all can know it too, because this is a work that he's doing in me. And I think the humility of learning that in front of so many people, not because I figured it out because my parents are awesome, because I have a lot of people helping me with that, and God is definitely will humble you, helped me so much.
Wow. Yeah, you got to take risks, I guess. It's like, because when we live safe, I mean, I'm not saying, I used to think that if I wasn't risking, I didn't have faith. Like, if I wasn't on the edge all the time, like, which is not true, because there's seasons of rest, and there's that should probably happen daily. And all of these different things. But that being said, like, to actually, like, back to the dream, you know, if you're given this opportunity, you could have said no more than once and, like, just been like, I'm not doing it. But you did. You stepped out, and then the Lord met you there, and then look at the fruit and from that, you know? I love watching you take risks, because it's not risky when he knows you.
That's so good. Somebody said today, man, so many things I've said today that have stuck with me, which I think is cool. It's life. You get you hear people say, you hold on to it. And somebody said, they were talking about their friend, but I was like, man, that's so God. They were saying that their friend is always proud of them when they swing the bat, not just because they hit the ball, but even when they just swing the bat. And I was thinking about God, like, that's so God. Like, he's so proud of you when you just swing the bat, even if you, like, miss the ball. And, like, there have been so many times I have missed the ball. Like, I totally have. But, like, hey, at least you swung the bat. And, you know, in, like, the game, you have, like, 3 strikes, but God, it's like, no, just keep doing it. Like, I'm limitless. I have all the time. I have eternity. Hey, exactly. It's like those things. It's like, they're little sayings you know in life, but when you think about them in the context of who God is, it's so true. Like, you cannot
endless
like,
opportunity.
fail too hard that he's not gonna be right there ready to, like, be like, we're still walking.
and if he doesn't ever catch you, you don't know his arms. And that's a bummer. It's like,
that's a bummer.
You know, that's like, you want that intimacy. He wants that intimacy. That's where awe comes from. It's great. So unfortunately for us, because I like to get it right, but that's that cycle, right? It's okay if you don't miss ever, then you don't need his comfort, you don't need his care, you don't need his provision. So that would be lonely. So who knew?
There's that great commercial. It's probably a Nike commercial.
Probably, they're awesome.
Michael Jordan, and the whole commercial, like, until the end, was just listing, I've missed, you know,
I remember that commercial.
Shots.
Wow.
I've fallen this many times, or I've thrown out of bounds. And,
powerful.
And then the end of it was just like, Nike, just do it.
Just do it.
That's so good. Just do it.
That's pretty amazing.
I mean, God speaks
through
Michael
everything.
Jordan, it's like 6 championships, MVP, like the
Right.
greatest player of all time.
It's easy to just see the highlight reel.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And I think for a lot of people that only maybe have seen your highlight reel, which I think is awesome. This is the thing. Like, sometimes people have said that to me, like, your Instagram's just a highlight reel. Like, where's the... And I'm like, yeah, like, because I don't want
to
post all of the like really discouraging stuff. Plus, like poopy diapers aren't that fun to see all the time. Like
it's not a pleasant thing.
We could post those.
We do sometimes. You know, everything in moderation, but
some good ones
everything
lately.
You moderate.
But the highlight reel is the highlights of what God is highlighting for me, and I want to share the highlight reel.
It's so true.
You know, so it's hopefully inspiring. But I think for people that follow you and would maybe say, "Oh, I only see like the highlights of what happened in Sadie's life," I think they just got such a good glimpse into the process.
Great.
Thanks for being open to letting us in.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for like letting people come sit here and be like totally known for them and totally heard for what God's doing in their life. Like you said, the process before the highlight, because I think this is really special, and I'm glad I got a place to voice it. Yeah. So thank you.
We love you.
Thank you. Y'all are awesome. Thank you. And thank y'all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.